The thing is that for this build to be effective, like, you have to parry, like, you have to be good at parrying. But once you get good at parrying, the amount of utility that you can build into the character, it just turns you into an immortal monster, because it gives you like quite literally everything that you need. And if you're able to sustain enough damage to make enough mistakes, then you're virtually unkillable, virtually invincible. So a very huge downside is that yes, the game just hasn't been out for, like, the early access hasn't been out for quite a while, and immediately after like the third day they nerfed it because of how powerful it was, and it kind of makes sense, you know. Now, parrying per se, no rest for the wicked, it's nothing really that special. It doesn't give you like quite literally anything. So at first, when you begin playing and you see parrying and you see that it doesn't do anything for you, you might think, then why would I want to be parrying if it's not going to like give me any kind of a reward? Because parrying in Souls-likes has always been this kind of a trade-off between I get good at this, but my reward, it's a risk and reward, and the reward should be very, very good, because the risk of getting damage in Souls-likes, it's just too much. It's something that you can't really bypass, you know. It's not something that you can shake off that easily. So usually, often people just want to up parry, leap parry out of the window, because it's not worth it sometimes. Now in here, you can make it an entire build. Now, the stats that we're going to have right here, they are somewhat irrelevant. You know, the stats are not going to be that relevant. As a matter of fact, the main thing that you're going to focus with this build is going to be on the armor and the perks that you're going to get from the armor. But if I had to make a suggestion for you, would be not to raise the strength, for example, that much. And as a matter of fact, this build is going to work with virtually any one of those stats. So, for example, if you're a mage, if you're a faith character, dexterity, this is going to work with every or any one of those, because all of the characters have access to shields. So my advice is for you to have like your main stat on 42, which is where the final tier, the tier 3 of weapons that you have access to, at least in the early access. So it would be like strength 42 or 42 or 42, because your damage is not going to come from your weapon per se, so you don't really need scaling from your weapon. And then I would raise up health to have more room for mistake, but as a matter of fact, you're going to be healing it back, so the more health that you can have, that's all the better. One thing that I wouldn't recommend for you to change is the equip load, because you want to take punishment. You want to be punished, you will be punished, so that you can get good at parrying. And the equip load at 30 is going to allow you to use plate armor. If you're not using plate armor, remember, you're not going to be dodging. You're not going to be, well, you're going to be a little bit of a dodger, but you want to be and have enough plate armor and not have hindrance on your stamina. So that is what you want to be looking at for your stats, but this is all subject to change. What really is important is the gear, the weapons, the shield that you're going to have, the perks that you're going to have on your armor, on your weapons. And you want for parry, you want that every time that you parry something, you want to have the highest possible reward in the game, that it makes you quite literally unkillable, as you can see on all throughout the rendition of the gameplay that you see in the backgrounds. The thing is that the damage and parrying, you can add it in your weapons, on the shield, on the gloves, and rings. So as much damage and parry that you can stack, that's going to be all the better. Now I don't believe that this has been properly showcased right here. They nerfed the numbers per se, but for example, I would have like 26 and 26, that's 52. Then we go to the gloves, and then we have more hit damage and parry, that's 67 right there. And then we add this extra 24 right here. We're closing in like 100, we're close to 90, so it's actually quite a lot of damage. And if you consider that the highest damaging weapons on the game, they have like 46 damage, then even the highest possible damaging weapons shy away from the damage that you can do from parrying. Now, that is not all. Like, you're not only going to be dealing damage with parrying, because if you, for example, on your, let's say, shield, have 19% health and parry. 19%, it's actually huge. And that is also stacking. It stacks with all of the healing effects that you have right here. So for example, healing effects increase by 26%, healing effects increase by 16%, and then the rest of the healing effects that you gain, they stack with the percentage of health and parry that you have right here. So as much of that as you can stack, that is going to completely heal you by 100% each time that you parry. So it doesn't matter if you have like the lowest health possible, because with every parry you're always going to be healing back to maximum, making you invincible, virtually invincible, and giving you lots and lots of room for error. But that is not all, because also there are some things that you can get, like for example, gain 17% focus on parrying, and the parrying already gives you like a little bit of focus, so each time that you parry you're always getting like a lot of focus back, so to the point that you have so much focus that every time that you parry, you're dealing the damage for the parry, you're healing yourself, but also you have a free focus skill, which virtually, like I said, gives you access to every single possible thing. And now, with the gameplay that you have on the background, you'll notice that I'm not the best person in the world. You will notice that I make a lot of mistakes. You'll notice that I'm not a parry god. I'm just an average dude when it comes to parrying, and I make lots and lots of mistakes. But the reward is so high, it's so big, that I don't really care about making mistakes, because you always get everything back. And you can sustain as much punishment as possible. And the thing is that you're quite literally invincible. Now, one thing you do have to have in mind is that you can't parry everything. So what is it that you can't parry? Every single strike from a weapon, that's something that you can parry. So if someone is attacking you, like for example with their hands, that is why you're going to have a little bit of a extra stat right there. It doesn't happen that much, as a matter of fact everything attacks you with a weapon right here, but there's some things that don't, so you can't parry those. Just be aware that even bosses, as you can see right here, even bosses are parryable as well, and you always get tons and tons of rewards for parrying because of how this build is. Like I said, they nerfed the damage, but I think it was something needed, you know, because you can't quite literally have like everything in a build, like the maximum focus, the maximum health, the maximum damage. There had to be some concessions, so it's only natural that they nerfed it. But it's still amazing, like the gameplay that you see in the background is already the nerfed version. I was able to, prior to the patch, I was able to one-shot elite bosses with one single parry. Well, elite, the big enemies that you have out there. That's the one that I was able to one-shot. I'm not anymore, but still you get enough rewards so that you can still use it as something viable. And like I said, every single character can make use of this combination, provided that you have the proper set of equipment and gear. If you like the content, like never super appreciated, and also you there you go, you're just a middle person, you're in the go, just a beautiful, beautiful person, have a lovely, lovely day, and goodbye.